Okay, good morning, guys. Good morning, doctor. Good morning, friends. So today, in this occasion, we from SGD-B4 will presentate our student project titled "Ultrastructure of the Functional Unit of Kidney." Next, please. So here are the members of SGD-B4. Next. 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 So in this presentation, we will discuss about three main topics. The first one is the introduction, the second one is the literature review, and the third one, the last part is the conclusion. Next, please. The first one is the introduction and the background. To maintain the homeostatic condition in our body, we surely need energy, which we generally gain from consuming food. Our body will not be able to completely process these foods, and there will be some waste that will need it to be excreted from our body. As a human being, which is the part of the mammalian, our urinary tract includes the kidneys, ureters, urinary bladder, and urethra. This paper, in this presentation, we will present more about the kidney, specifically the functional unit of the kidney, which is nephron. Nephron, as the functional unit of kidney, plays an important role in our body, specifically in the excretion system, both in male and female. We will further discuss about the ultrastructure of the nephron. Next, please. So, in making this student project, the problem formulation that we find is the first one: where's the kidney located? The second one is what are the function of the kidney? The third one is how is the structure of the kidney? And the last one is what is nephron? Next, please. And the objective that we hope from doing this student project is the first one, to give a general overview of the kidney. And the second one is to describe nephron as the functional unit of kidney. The next part will be discussed by my partner.
Okay, allow me to explain this part. First of all, my name is Ain Audi Abza with plus 3-digit student number 102. Okay, for location of the kidney. The kidney is one of the organs located in the posterior abdominal region facing each other between the right and left kidney. The right kidney is located inferiorly compared to the left kidney because there's a liver at the top of the right kidney, although the shape and size of the right and left kidneys are similar. The left kidney is longer and slender than the right kidney and is closer to the midline of the body. This organ is more specifically located at the back of the peritoneum or membrane lining the abdominal organ, so that this position can be called retroperitoneal. In the supination of the kidney lies approximately at the level of the thoracic 12 and lumbar 3rd vertebrae inferiorly. Okay, for the next part will be continued by my colleagues.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Josephina Della Prastwirawan with the last 3 digits of my ID number is 094. I will explain the general function of kidneys. The kidneys are the primary organ responsible for maintaining extracellular fluid stability, electrolyte composition, and osmolarity. Not only that, the kidneys also function to adjust the output of extracellular fluid constituent to avoid abnormal fluid disappearance through excessive sweating, vomiting, diarrhea, or hemorrhage. In addition, kidneys function to get rid of the residual waste of the body that are digested or created by metabolic reaction. The kidneys also play a role in regulating the balance between the volume of electrolytes in body fluids. This regulatory function maintains a stable environment in the body that is important for the cell performance. The kidneys have the following function, most of which contribute to homeostasis. They regulate osmolarity of our body fluid by excreting urine osmotically. If the body is dehydration or has a little fluids in it, the urine that will be secreted is concentrated urine. Otherwise, if the body has enough fluid or excessive, the urine that will secreted is dilute urine. That's all from me. Next part will be continued by my partner. Thank you.
Here, I will add the explanation of my friend Della. My name is Kevin Andrian Chandra, with three last digit number is 095. The kidney also play role in regulating all kinds of ions present in the plasma, including sodium and potassium ion. The kidneys maintain acid-base balance by releasing hydrogen ion. It's controlling the excretion of sodium ion and water to regulate the amount of ECF and help regulate blood pressure, so will affect vital signs. The kidneys can to remove the body's metabolic waste product, including urea, to remove drugs and toxic material from our body. In addition to removing unused residual substance, the kidneys also play a role in forming and synthesizing several substances. They synthesize ammonia that important in balancing acid and base in the body. That's all from me. The next part will be discussed by my partner. Thank you.
My name is Priswa Timothy Mandian with my last three-digit number is 103. I will continue off explaining the structure of the kidney. For the kidney itself, it's a visceral organ that produces urine that is carried by ureters into the urinary bladder located in the pelvic cavity. The kidneys play a role in removing and reabsorbing water, salts, and waste products of protein metabolism from the food so that it can be in constant homeostasis, like previously mentioned. For the structure of the kidney itself, the upper middle surface of the kidney is normally in contact with a suprarenal gland. It is separated by a weak facial septum. The kidneys, the suprarenal gland, ureters, and their vessels can be found on the posterior wall of the abdomen, since they are primary retroperitoneal structures. At the concave-like appearance of each kidneys, which is their medial margins, a structure called the renal hilum can be seen. This renal hilum acts as an entrance for structures that serve the kidneys, such as nerves and arteries supplying the kidneys. It also acts as exits for the structures leaving the kidneys, such as structures that drain urine from the kidney, which is renal pelvis, and also veins. The upper back of the supromedial side from the kidneys itself are facing the diaphragm. Inferiorly, both of the kidneys, posterior side, are positioned in such a way that it's facing the left and right psoas major muscles and also the quadratus lumborum muscles, respectively. Some nerves that descend near the kidney will pass diagonally along the posterior surface of their respective kidneys. These include the subcostal nerve and vessels with the iliohypogastric and ilioinguinal nerve. The liver, duodenum, and ascending colon can be found on the anterior of the right kidney. This right kidney is not directly in contact with the liver since it is separated by a hepatorenal recess. On the other hand, the anterior surface of the left kidney is facing to the stomach, spleen, jejunum, and descending colon. That's all from me. The next will be continued by my partner, Devin.
Okay, my name is Devin Tadio with the last three-digit number 099. Okay, so let me continue the crystal part. Okay, the average dimension of normal adult kidney are approximately 10 centimeter in length and 5 centimeter in width. The kidney also has reddish brown-like color. Its axes are slightly oblique. This is why the upper pole of each kidney to be nearer to the midline. And this is the reason of why the hilum is located more anteriorly than its lateral surface. In general, the right kidney located lower than its counterpart. Okay, next we can set the vertebral column as the references of its relative position. Left kidney is around T12 until L3 or L4, while its counterpart position around L1 until L4. And during the deep respiration, both kidney can move vertically around 2 centimeters. Okay, the next part will continue by my colleague.
First of all, let me introduce myself. My name is Franciscus Asisi Tokan, with the 3 last digit of my ID number is 092. So the hemisected view of the kidney shows that the kidney is surrounded by a cortex, which is a connective tissue that covers the outer region of the substance of the kidney. The deeper part of the kidney is the medulla with its renal pyramids and the intervening cortical columns. Its renal pyramid drains its urine into a minor calyx, and several minor calyces deliver their urine to major calyx, whose confluence from the renal pelvis, the expanded region of the ureter located at the hilum. Also at the hilum, the branches of the renal artery enter the kidney, and tributaries of the renal vein leave the kidney. The basic unit of the kidney, known as the uriniferous tubule, is completely epithelial in structure, and it is separated from the connective tissue elements of the kidney by its basal lamina. And it is composed by a nephron and a collecting tubule, and several nephrons drain into a collecting tubule, and several collecting tubules join each other to form larger and larger collecting tubules. For the next part about the nephron as the functional unit will be discussed by my friend.
Hello everyone, my name is George Devadanas with my last 3 digit of my student ID 104. I'm going to explain about anatomy of nephron. So nephron is a duplex structure made of single-layered epithelial cells, and it is capable of filtering up to 400 gallons of blood per day. And its main function is head filtration. Approximately, there are around 900,000 to 1 million nephrons in each kidney, in which each nephron contains Bowman's capsule that surrounds the glomerulus, proximal tubule, loop of Vanna, and distal tubule. So for glomerulus, or its plural form, glomeruli, are arterial capillary tufts site located at renal cortex. This part of nephron is responsible for blood filtration. Anatomically, glomerulus has glomerular tuft, which is a network of capillaries within glomerulus and are protected by Bowman's capsule, a fibrous structure. This entire structure is called the renal corpuscle, whereas glomerulus usually refers to the entire unit of filtration. So located at the urinary pole, proximal tubule is a part where glomerular filtrate approaches renal tubule. Proximal tubule's primary function is reabsorption of filtered substances. In essence, glucose, water, amino acids, peptides, and proteins, the low molecular ones. There are 2 types of proximal tubule, convoluted and straight. The main difference is that the convoluted type is located at the cortical labyrinth, while the straight one is in the medullary race of cortex and outer part of medulla. Moreover, the proximal tubule is also subdivided to 3 segments, which are S1, S2, and S3. Next is the proximal convoluted tubule, which extends from Bowman's capsule to the proximal tubule straight portion. It's located in the medullary race of cortex and extends to the outer medulla. PCT contains the S1 segment and the initial part of S2, while the straight tubule contains the late segment of S2 and the entire S3. For the next part will be explained by my colleagues. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Let me introduce myself first. My name is Hansaju Kristanto, with my last 3 digit of my IC number of 093. I will continue the explanation. This is the anatomy of the nephron. So the next part is the loop of Henle, which is located at the S3 segment end. There, the proximal tubule connects to the thin descending loop of Henle. It also reaches the part in the middle of the outer and inner medulla, which later on it connects to ascending loop of the loop of Henle. The thin limb's main function is related to the urine concentrating, and it contains 4 distinct epithelial cell types. The thick ascending limb is responsible for the reabsorption of the sodium and chloride, and is also impermeable to water. It is also the sodium active transport. The thick ascending limb has a little difference at the outer medulla and cortex. For the outer medulla, it is taller and has simple cell borders, but with prominent lateral. Also, the distal part of the cortical thick ascending limb contains the macula densa. Next part is the distal tubule, which consists of the distal convoluted tubule, the connecting segment, and the initial closing tubule. All of the 3 segments of this tubular portion is situated in the cortical labyrinth until the part between distal end of the thick ascending limb and the cortical collecting duct. The distal convoluted tubule, or DCT, is composed of similar cells with thick ascending limbs, but with taller cells. The DCT is trailed by an interfacing segment and corresponds to the initial and lateral part of the distal tubule. These connecting segments will later combine and merge to this collecting duct in the medullary ring. In addition, the connecting segment cells are pretty similar to the density cells, with the difference being connecting segment cells, mitochondrial density, and also contain apical water channels. In the context of kidney, there's a part named the collecting duct. It's often related to the tubules and other parts of the nephrons. However, the collecting duct is not counted as the part of the nephron due to several reasons. That's all from me. The next part will be explained by my partner.
Okay, allow me to introduce myself. My name is Indra Felicia Simorangkir with the last 3 digits of my student ID is 098. Next slide, please. Okay, there are around 1 million functional units in each kidney called nephron. Nephron composed by simple single-layered epithelium along their lengths and can be divided into 2 big parts called the renal corpuscle and the tuberoid portion. Next slide, please. Okay, the renal corpuscle is shaped when a mass of glomerular vessels goes into the visually impaired closure of a nephron. The epithelial cells in it, or we can say incistive layer, become firmly connected with the vessels. The external layer of epithelium is known as the parietal layer. Blood is sifted from the vessels through the incistive layer of epithelium into the capsular or Bowman space and can move into the proximal tangled tubules. For the first one, as we can see from the first picture, the renal cortex can be separated into districts alluded to as the cortical labyrinth on the right picture, and the medullary rays. The cortical labyrinth contains the renal corpuscles, which show up as generally huge circular design. Next slide, please. So the glomerulus, whenever framed as a few tufts of anastomosing vessels that emerge from parts of the efferent glomerular arteriole. The glomerulus are supplanted by a specific cell type known as mesangial cells that is located by 2 gatherings, extraglomerular mesangial cells and intraglomerular mesangial cells. The pores of glomerulus are huge, running somewhere in the range of 70 and 19 nanometer in diameter. Interglomerular vessel cells are phagocytic and work in reception of basal lamina. Between the profoundly fenestrated endothelial cells of the vessels and the covering podocytes is the thick, around 336 nanometer glomerular cellular layer or GBM. The F versus charge GBM, which contains collagens, proteins, non-collagenous glycoproteins, proteoglycans, and glycosaminoglycans. Filtration thusly happens through a design with 3 sections. The first one is the fenestration of the slim endothelium, which squares platelets, and the second one is the thick joint basal lamina or GBM, which limits enormous proteins and some natural anions. And the third one is the filtration cuts stomach between pedicels, which limits some little proteins and natural anions. Glomerulus contain mesangial cells, the greater part of which look like vascular processes in having contractile properties and developing parts of an outside lamina. As you can see in this picture, mesangial cells and their encompassing framework involve the mesangium, which fills interstices between vessels that needs podocytes. And the nice about Bowman's capsule. Bowman's capsule, the extended part of the nephron, takes after an inflatable during early stage investment and is made out of a basic squamous epithelium that attacked by a group of fenestrated vessels, the glomerulus. Bowman's space or Bowman's capsule, situated between the external and internal layers of Bowman's capsule, known as the parietal and instinctive layer of Bowman's capsule. The interior of or instinctive layer of this container intently encompasses the glomerular vessels, which are finely fenestrated. Between the 2 capsule layers is the capsular or urinary space, which gets the liquid sifted through the slim divider and instinctive layer. The external parietal layer of glomerulus capsule comprised of straightforward squamous epithelium upheld remotely by a basal lamina. At the rounded pose, this epithelium changes to the straightforward cuboidal epithelium that precedes and structures the proximal tubule. The extended layer of Reynolds Casbolt comprises of uncamouflaged epithelial cells called podocytes, which along with the slender endothelial cells make the mechanal assembly for renal filtration. I think that's all from me. The next part will be explained by my colleague. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Angel. First, let me introduce myself. My name is Jennifer Natalie Kurniawan with last 3 digit of student number is 101. Next, Kevin. Okay, so I will continue what Angel already explained about the histology of nephron. So I will explain the tubular one. The first one is the proximal tubule. From the renal corpuscle, the glomerular ultrafiltrate will go through reabsorption in this tubule. And this proximal tubule is located in the cortex and consists of 2 regions, as we can see in the picture. So the first is the proximal convoluted tubules that are made up of simple cuboidal epithelium with long microvilli. And also the second one is the pars recta or descending thin limb of Henle's loop, composed of low cuboidal with few mitochondria. In these proximal convoluted tubules, the cell have an abundance of mitochondria and many long microvilli that facilitate reabsorption. So in here, the proximal tubule are responsible for reabsorbing 80% of water, sodium, and also chloride. And also, this tubule absorbs 100% of protein, amino acids, and glucose from the glomerular ultrafiltrate through the vacuolar endocytic apparatus. This also secrete the organic solutes like drugs and also toxin is also done in here. Next. The second one is the Henle's loop. The glomerular ultrafiltrate now become the tubule filtrate and enters the Henle's loop. So in here we can see the thin descending limb and also a thin ascending limb form a U-shaped structure composed of squamous epithelium cells. There are 3 regions continuous from the pars recta, as we can see in this picture. The first one is the thin descending limb of Henle's loop. They are permeable to chloride, sodium, and urea. It's also highly permeable to water by the presence of numerous aquaporin 1 water channels. The second one is the hairpin-shaped Henle's loop. The third one is the thin ascending limbs of Henle's loop. That impermeable to water but is permeable to urea and most ions. The walls of these thin segments only consist of squamous cells with few organelles. And also, there are 4 types of cells that compose these thin limbs of Henle's loop. The cell type 1 is in cortical nephron, has squamous cell with no lateral processes. And the cell type 2 located in juxtamedullary nephrons, descending thin limb of the outer zone of the medulla, composed by squamous cells with numerous long radiating processes. The third one is located at the juxtamedullary nephrons, descending thin limb of the inner zone of the medulla, composed of squamous cell with fewer processes. And cell type 4 in juxtamedullary nephrons, ascending thin limb has squamous cells with numerous long radiating processes like type 2 cells. Next. The third one is the distal tubule. So continuing from the ascending thin limb, now the ultrafiltrate move into the distal tubule. The distal tubule is made up of a simple cuboidal epithelium and has shorter microvilli than the proximal tubule. The lumen is also larger and more nuclei are seen in this distal tubule than proximal tubule. The tubule can be divided into 3 regions. The pars recta, which is high impermeable to water and urea. The second one is macula densa, and the third one is the pars convoluta or distal convoluted tubule that is impermeable to water. The distal convoluted tubules composed of columnar cells that contain aldosterone receptors and also sodium-potassium exchange pump. In here, there are also juxtaglomerular apparatus that compose of three components: macula densa, juxtaglomerular cell, and extraglomerular mesangial cell. The juxtaglomerular cells are formed by modified smooth muscle cells of the afferent and efferent glomerular arterioles. These cells are stored and synthesize a proteolytic enzyme that converts angiotensinogen into angiotensin 1, and this enzyme called renin. I think that's all from me. The next part will be explained by my colleague. Thank you.
So hello, my name is Geraldine Rachel Gutama with the last 3-digit student ID is 100, and I'm going to elaborate some about physiology of the nephron. So the kidneys work under function by the production and maturation of urine. There are 3 basic renal processes in urine formation that all occur in the nephron. The urine formation begins firstly with glomerular filtration. As the blood flows through the glomerular capillaries, parchment fluid in the blood are filtered into the Bowman's capsule before getting reabsorbed in the renal tubule. So the glomerular filtrate contains water and all of the dissolved solids of blood without the proteins and blood cells and remains in the capillaries due to the impermeability of the glomerular capillaries to proteins. Filtration itself takes place in the kidney's corpuscles, which consists of the Bowman's capsule that surrounds the glomerular capillaries. Before entering the renal tubule, fluid filtered from the glomerule into Bowman's capsule must pass through the 3 filtration barriers that make up the glomerular membrane. All layers of glomerular capillary provide restriction to plasma protein filtration. And in order to drive filtration across the glomerular capillary wall to the Bowman's capsule, there are 3 forces which involved in the filtration. The first one is the capillary blood pressure. It is the hydrostatic pressure utilized by the blood within the glomerular capillaries, which depends on the contraction of the heart. The second one is the capillary colloid osmotic pressure, which is an inconstant force opposing the filtration. And the last one is the Bowman's capsule fluid pressure, which originates from the presence of fluid in the lumen and nephron. The rate of fluid volume that filters into Bowman's capsule is known as the glomerular filtration rate, or GFR, which is determined by the total amount of the hydrostatic and capillary colloid osmotic forces across the glomerular membrane and the glomerular filtration coefficient. GFR is the multiplication product of filtration coefficient and the net filtration pressure. It is relatively constant over a wide range of blood pressure, as it is mainly controlled by the blood flow regulation that pass through the renal arterioles. Related to the GFR, there is a local control process in which the renal aim to keep a relatively constant GFR while facing normal fluctuations in blood pressure called the autoregulation. It has an important function to protect the filtration barrier from blood pressure that can possibly damage it. That's all from me. The next step will be continued by my colleague. Thank you.
Okay, my name is Vidake Nagustia with my last 3-digit number is 105. The second step in the formation of urine is reabsorption. When the glomerular filtrate enters the renal tubules, it passes through the proximal tubule, the lobe of Henle, the distal tubule, the collecting tubule, and the collecting ducts before being excreted as urine. More than 99% of the fluid that enters the tubules must be reabsorbed into the circulation, and most of the reabsorption takes place in the proximal tubule. Reabsorption through the tubular epithelium into the interstitial fluid involve either active or passive transport. Active transport requires energy and can cause a solid to be pushed against an electrochemical gradient. Transport that is directly related to an energy source, such as ATP hydrolysis, is called primary active transport. An example is the sodium-potassium ATPase pump, which functions in almost all parts of the renal tubule. Meanwhile, the transport that is related indirectly to the energy source, such as the that caused by the ion gradient is called secondary active transport. An example is the reabsorption of glucose by the renal tubules. Solids can be reabsorbed or secreted across cells by transcellular and paracellular pathways. In the tubules, there is not only a reabsorption process, but also a process of secretion. Secretion is the transfer of molecules from extracellular fluid to the lumen of the nephron. The filtrate that has passed through the renal tubules will decrease in volume and change in composition to form urine, which will be channeled into the renal pelvis. From the renal pelvis, urine flows into the urinary bladder to then to be excreted during the process of urination or micturition. Okay, the next part will continue by my partner.
Next, please. Okay, thank you, Abita. My name is Eric Gonata with 3 digit of my student ID is 096. So the conclusion for the presentation of student project is both kidneys produce urine to carry out functions in achieving a state of homeostatic. There are 3 basic renal processes in urine formation that occur in the nephrons. That are filtration, reabsorption, and secretion. And then the functional unit of the kidney is nephron, which composed by a simple single-layered epithelium along their length and can be divided into 2 big parts called the renal corpuscle and the tubular portion. As the functional unit of the kidney, nephron plays critical role in excreting metabolic waste products, regulate water, electrolyte balance, body fluid osmolarity and concentration, and acid-base balance by the production and micturition of urine. Nephron produce urine through 3 basic renal processes, namely filtration, reabsorption, and excretion. Okay, that's all the presentation of SGD-B4 for the student project titled the ultrastructure of the functional unit of the kidneys. Thank you for your kind attention, and that's all our presentation. Bye.